What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, well look, they've just released a starter deck in Japan, starter deck 11. They've just shown us the full deck list for another starter deck over in Japan, starter deck 12, and with new starter decks come new cards, and with new cards come new rulings, and that's what we need to have a look at today, ladies and gentlemen. The official FAQs for both starter deck 11 and starter deck 12 have gone and been published over on the official website, and this is absolutely something we need to be talking about, because as I've said several times before, if you're going to play the game, you're going to need to know the rules. Should be fairly obvious. Also worth noting, of course, and I've told you this before, but let me make it clear, starter deck 11 doesn't actually have many new cards. You've got the new Uta Leader, you've got the new Uta Secret Rare, you've got the 3 new event cards. That is it. That is the sum total of new cards in the deck. There are 5, the rest of them are reprints. It's a really good deck to play out of the box, that's awesome. It is not a good deck if you're looking for a whole bunch of new cards, but then annoyingly, it's still, there are good cards in there, and some of them are going to come with 2 so you're going to need to buy 2 of them, and yeah, that is actually a little bit annoying. You have my sympathy, ladies and gentlemen, but really, at the end of the day, what can you do? There's new cards, we all love One Piece, I'm going to get over it, I feel pretty good about it. So starting off with starter deck 11 then, what have we got? Well, we got a ruling about the leader Uta. Now, the leader Uta's got a skill whereby Don X1, when attacking once per turn, reveal 1 card from the top of your deck. If it is a film type card, put it in your hand. Place the rest of the cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Great leader if you're playing a green film type deck, because you're basically drawing a card every turn when you attack, and that's a good thing. Well, if you add a card to your hand, what does it mean, put the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order? I'm only looking at 1. If I put that 1 card in my hand, what remaining cards do we have? Well, fairly obviously, you do nothing. It's meaningless. Essentially, you can read it as, if there are remaining cards, put them on the bottom of your deck in any order. Now, the other new card we've got is New Genesis that needs a ruling. This is actually a super rare event card. I believe the first one of its kind, which is kind of interesting. It's a 1-cost card, and if your leader is Uta, look at 3 cards on the top of your deck, find a film card other than New Era and add it to your hand, and then put the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order, and set up to 1 of your Don cards as active. Well, what happens if I look at the top 3 cards of my deck? There are no film cards, so I can't add 1 to my hand. I put them all back to the bottom of my deck. Do I still get to set a Don card active? Yes. Yes, you do. Because it's not dependent on it. First, you look at the top 3 cards to try and add a card. Then you add a Don as active. But it's not, if you added a card to your hand in this way, set 1 of your Don to active. That would essentially be the phrase we would be looking for here. It doesn't say that. First, you look at the top 3 cards, add a card if you can, and then you set your Don to active. Very, very, very important. So those are the rulings you need to know from starter deck 11, just a couple of them, but especially New Era, which is a very good event card for green film decks. It is a 1-cost, and that is actually a ruling which I can see coming up in a bunch of places. This is quite important. But moving on to starter deck 12, we've got ourselves a rather lovely new dual color leader, Zoro and Sanji. Like, on the one hand, it's actually a dual leader, not a dual color leader, because there are 2 characters on the screen. On the other hand, on the card, on the other hand, it's just a dual color leader that happens to have 2 characters represented on there. But we've got a skill, Don X1, when attacking once per turn, you may return 1 of your 2-cost or higher characters to its owner's hand, and then set up to 1 of your 7,000 power or less characters active. Well, can I activate a character whose original power is 7,000, but I've used an effect or given them a Don or done something to bring them up to 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, whatever? Can I activate one of those with the skill? No! Obviously not. That's not the way it works, ladies and gentlemen. It is a 7,000 power or less character. The phrase you would be looking for here is, original power was 7,000 or less, then you would be able to boost them up and still activate them. That is not the way it works here. You can be upset about that, and that's absolutely fine. It would be really broken if you could. But no, ladies and gentlemen, what you have to do is when you're attacking, you activate a character who at that moment has 7,000 or less power, not one that has been boosted up in some way. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that's just the way it goes. Now, we've also got a new Dracule Mihawk coming in this particular set, and it is one that I like very, very much indeed. It is a super rare, or designated super rare, because it's not really a super rare in terms of pull rate, but it does have the appearance of a super rare, the foiling, etc., despite it just being in the deck as a 2 of, like, and it's weird. They're still super rares, they look like super rares, they've got the rarity symbol, but they're in the deck, so it's calling them super rares always is weird to me. Anyway, got a really good skill on play. If you have 2 or fewer characters, play up to 1 cost 4 or lower Shigarari Kingdom or / trait character other than Dracule Mihawk from your hand rested. And I've talked about this before, but / is the symbol in the top right hand corner, like hit or special. I've put it on the screen there so you can see it nice and clearly. This is what / means, and for what it's worth, that is literally the kanji for / or slice, which is, I really appreciate that, honestly, because when I started learning Japanese and I came across that kanji, I'm like, hang on a second, they're the same. It made me happy, frankly, ladies and gentlemen. It made me happy. So the question here then is, if I make this character appear, and then my total number of characters becomes 3, can I play a character with this on-play effect? The answer is no. You play the character, and then you look, do I have 2 or fewer characters? If you have 2, but then you play Mihawk, now I've got 3, I don't get to play a character. It's right there in the FAQ. If you play this and then you've got 3 characters, you are not allowed to use the on-play skill to play another. I think this Dracule Mihawk is a good card. I can absolutely see it winding its way into decks, and this is another very important ruling. Some of these in this video really are important. There are going to be people who will tell you, oh no mate, it's alright, I had 2, and you look when you play the character, not when it's already on the field. No, you don't, ladies and gentlemen. You play the character, and then you look. You do not look and then play the character. This is a very, very important distinction that people need to know. Good. Because we need to finish off having a little bit of a look at Sanji. Now here we got a lovely skill, Don X1, when attacking, if you have 5 or fewer cards in hand, this character gains 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. Essentially, it gives you the extra power through this turn and then your opponent's turn, so if they're trying to take you out on their turn, you've still got that extra power. And then your turn starts and you lose the extra power and you are a little bit sad. But never mind, ladies and gentlemen, you can't win them all. Well, over in the FAQ, they've asked the question, after activating this effect when you have 5 cards in hand, if you have 6 or more cards in your hand by the start of your next turn, does this character get an extra 2,000 power? And the answer is yes. Essentially, when you attack, you look to see if you've got 5 or fewer cards in hand. Alright? If that is the case, you gain the 2,000 power. It does not say, while you have 5 or fewer cards in hand, you gain 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. It is a set thing. There is one moment where you look when you attack, and at that moment, you look to see how many cards do you have in hand. Then you get the extra power, and no matter what happens after that, you don't lose it. Alright, well if this attack effect is activated twice in one turn, do you get plus 4,000 power? Yeah, you do. And this was clearly, obviously designed in this way. Again, if we go back to the leader, Zoro and Sanji here, it says, set up to one of your 7,000 power or less characters to active. And if you have a look at Sanji's skill, you don't need to be able to read Japanese. It's very clearly missing that little box that says once per turn. So we have a leader that can activate Sanji, and we've got a skill that doesn't say once per turn. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. come on. I believe this is a very deliberate interaction, and it makes Sanji a pretty gosh darn beefy 2-cost character. So there we go. That's the FAQ for Starter Deck 11 and Starter Deck 12. A couple of these rulings are very big, and if you're playing with these cards, you will absolutely need to know. So now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me how excited you are for these decks. Tell me if you've got any questions about the rulings. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.